What's up, boys? Dad here, and this morning we're going to talk about fixing some of your bad habits and why focus macros are insanely useful if you're trying to improve in Mythic Plus. This is something that I see brought up in the Rogue Discord a lot, and just like in general discussion about Rogue, people say, hey, what is the focus tricks macro that you use? Because a lot of rogues that are either new to Rogue, as I used to do this at the beginning of this expansion, early season 1 I played like this, or people just haven't found a different way to always tricks their tank. So they get in the habit of, they go into a dungeon, they set their tank as focus, and then they have a macro that always trickses their focus target. And great, that you're always going to trick your tank, but you lose the value of focus macros. And they are super useful in keys, and we're going to talk about why, and I'll show you the focus macros that I use that you can then use to help yourself improve. So first of all, let's talk about the workaround. Let's talk about how do you always trick your tank if you don't have a focus macro. And that's pretty easy. You make a macro that's this. Show tooltip tricks is not necessary, but it makes it so you always see it on your bar. And then /cast bracket at the name of your tank. You just get in the habit of you start a key, you're ready to put the key in. Part of your ready check is, have I changed my macro to the name of the tank? You don't need to add the server that he's on. It does, even if he's on a different server, it doesn't matter. You put the name of the tank in there, and then close bracket. Tricks of the trade. So now, every time, for example, I was playing with Gutter's, my buddy Gutter's Paladin earlier. His name is Gutter Pride. At Gutter Pride. Every time I hit this, I will trick Gutter Pride. And then I also have a focus tricks macro if I want to trick somebody else, which, cool, I'll set them to focus real quick and I'll trick them. But usually it's just a tank, and that's your fire and forget. And now this opens up being able to use focus macros. So what you'll need for this, and the few useful ones I'll mention, is first you need a bind that sets focus. So that's as easy as, where are you? Where are you? /focus. You make a macro that's /focus, you put it on your bar and you bind it. So I walk in, if there's something I need focus, so if there's something that I need to be the kick target of, or something that needs to be repetitively stunned, or interrupted in some way with like Gouge or blind. When I'm walking into a pack, I select that target and I focus it. So now this is my focus. Pew! Didn't target it, blinded it. It's useful for many things, but now this target is focused. It's shift 4 on my mouse, for reference. Not that matters to you, because I have kind of weird binds. But you want to set a bind that selects a focus. So now this is my focus. I changed to this boy. We'll mark him so you can see on my buffs there. And then from there, you want to make a few other macros. Focus kick is the most important. So what this allows you to do is target the same target always, never have to switch your target, and always be able to kick whatever your kick target is. This is extremely useful in BFA because most dungeons, almost every dungeon, if not every dungeon, has many mobs that have casts that are on a 15-second cooldown. So, for example, Underrot. We'll use Underrot because Underrot has a lot of good examples, I think. If we look at Underrot, look at the mobs in Underrot. You have Lashers, you have Blood Swarmers, you have Death Speakers. I think that's it with 15-second cooldown casts. There's other things that's useful for in here as well. But those three things in particular have a cast that has a 15-second cooldown, which lines up with our kick cooldown, that needs to be kicked. So when you're walking into a pack that has a Lasher, you say, I got the Lasher kick. You set the Lasher to focus, and then you have your bind for focus kick, and now you can target whatever the hell you want. So Bloodswarmer needs to die. All right, I'm tuttling this Bloodswarmer. I will always have to kick on the Lasher. I never have to target the Lasher. I just, as soon as he starts casting Decaying Mind, I start slamming my kick focus macro, and you'll kick it. Same thing for Raise Dead on the Death Speakers. Same thing for Sonic Scream on the Bloodswarmers. Yada, yada, yada. Other useful macros, and this will come into, we'll use Underwrite for example again, with the Maggots. Other useful focus macros that you can have are Focus Gouge. So the Frontal Cone, the Rotten Bile that those Maggots cast, is on, I want to say it's a 10-second cooldown. Not quite 15. So you can't get it with Gouge every time, but you can get it with other things in between Gouge. You walk into a pack, there's a Bile in the pack, or a Maggot in the pack. You say, I got the Maggot. I'll handle the interrupts on the Maggot so you don't have to dodge. You set the Maggot to focus, and now you have your Focus Gouge macro to gouge it every other time. Like, I'll hit my Focus Gouge, I gouge this target, but I'm targeting this. I have Focus Blind. I blind this. That'll interrupt the other thing. Focus Blind is the same thing, you just blind instead of gouge. Or Focus Between the Eyes. I just stun this, and that'll interrupt that. And something as little as that, like this takes very little setup time. It maybe takes a little bit of time to get used to the binds that you've set for these abilities. Because it is an additional bind that you need outside of what you're using them in your general rotation. But it makes being able to interrupt an off target with kick or any form of CC insanely easy. Like, there's no, oh, I have to find it in the mob. And really the biggest issue that I think people have is that they want to use focus for the tank. And if you just make a macro that you don't need focus for, it unlocks this extra utility. Well, not extra utility, but extra ease of utility for handling the mobs that need to be handled in a pack that allow you to clear keys faster. So we'll hover over these again just so you can see them. The typical format for this is hashtag show tooltip, name of the spell, and that's just so the icon matches the icon you want it to be. And then /cast bracket @focus, harm, nodead, close bracket, name of the spell. So it works for blind. I have the same thing for between the eyes. I have the same thing for gouge. I have the same thing for kick. And kick, I actually don't have the show tooltip. Let's change this real quick while we're here. Kick. What the hell? There we go. So find binds for these, utilize these, stop using focus for tricks, and you will improve in keys. That's the moral of the story, boys. Good luck in Season 2. I hope you all have a great time. Peace.